I don't have a philosophical objection necessarily to a travel ban if that is the thing that is going to keep the Americans safe. The problem is that in all the discussions I've had thus far with experts in the field, experts in infectious disease, is that a travel ban is less effective than the measures that we are currently instituting.
Right. Experts in infectious disease will always tell you it's better to let the people who are infected come in to the United States. Welcome aboard, ladies and gentlemen. That was the president last week where he said he doesn't have a philosophical difference to a travel ban, which I believe is as true as if you like your doctor, you could keep him. The fact of the matter is, when the head of the CDC was questioned by Congress about the relationship between the White House and his organization, was he speaking with the president? Was he taking orders from the president? He sidestepped those questions. So I believe Barack Obama is the one telling the CDC, overruling health experts who might be telling him, hey, a travel ban might not be a bad idea, just as he overrules the military on so many other occasions. And let's listen to what the president said in his weekly address on Saturday, much more definitive and much more outright against a travel ban. Listen and watch.
Can't just cut ourselves off from West Africa, where this disease is raging. Our medical experts tell us that the best way to stop this disease is to stop it at its source, before it spreads even wider and becomes even more difficult to contain. Trying to seal off an entire region of the world, if that were even possible, could actually make the situation worse. It would make it harder to move healthcare workers and supplies back and forth. Experience shows that it could also cause people in the affected region to change their travel, to evade screening, and make the disease even harder to track.
All right, he was angry. You can't just isolate a part of the world. You can't just cut off Africa. Now, we know, we've been told by the head of the CDC, who also told this to a congressman who retold the story, but it's no secret. The first reason that the CDC ever gave for not having a travel ban was, we can't harm the economies of those African countries. Huh? And I believe that came directly from the lips of Barack Obama. I have no proof, but I believe that's who Barack Obama is. And there's no, again, way to make it harder to bring people in to treat the disease if there's a travel. No, it won't. You make an exemption for people treating the disease. We've been through that excuse. The CDC doesn't even use that excuse anymore. So when here Barack Obama tries to lay it, well, you know, all the medical experts that I talk to, they tell me, really? Do you listen to your military experts? He does have a philosophical problem with a travel ban, I believe. He does have a philosophical problem with cutting off African nations, I believe. And I believe he's calling the shots on that directly, without a doubt, in my mind, Another issue, ladies and gentlemen, we learned at least a story at Gateway Pundit by our friend Jim Hoft, says that our soldiers, the 101st Airborne in the U.S. Army, okay, the Light Infantry Division, trained for the air assault operations, for some reason they're going to fight Ebola. God only knows why. And they will not have the proper protective hazmat suits, according to Gateway Pundit's story. Barack Obama care about that? Why are we putting our men and women in uniform in harm's way over there in the first place? What are they going to do? Build hospitals? We have quite a few unemployed people in this country. Why don't you put up want ads and see if anybody wants to volunteer to go over there and give them a job building hospitals and infrastructure in these African nations? Why does it have to be our finest in uniform who volunteered to protect the national security and safety of this country, not of Africa? It's mind-boggling, but it doesn't stop. Now, something else that is going to be problematic, I fear. The New York Times came out with a blistering story on Saturday. Police officer in Ferguson said to recount the struggle. And they quote law enforcement sources as saying that the officer told the grand jury when he testified, as he didn't have to, that he felt threatened, that the gun went off twice in his car as he struggled with Michael Brown before Brown ran away. And forensics have shown, FBI forensics, that the blood of Michael Brown was on the gun and on the officer's uniform. And that there's no basis right now at all for any kind of civil rights indictment. Will he be indicted by the criminal justice system in Ferguson? If he's not, you tell me what you think's going to happen. We're coming up with the panel. We'll discuss all of this and more. The Malzberg panel, Roger Hedgecock and C. Edmund Wright. They are on deck, as they say. Don't go away.